Hi everyone, we're going to be talking about how to make efficient study habits. So I'm going to be going over a few key points which I believe will help you make your studying much more efficient. So the first thing I would recommend is to pre-read any lecture notes. This is a good idea so you get some kind of information to what the lecture will be about before actually attending. And this will actually lead to my next point. So start anything that may be difficult. So in this case, when you pre-read the lecture notes and you find a topic in the lecture notes that is rather difficult or you know you can't answer on your own, the best thing is to start the slide and listen attentively during class to what the professor says about that slide, so it will clear up any misunderstanding regarding that topic. So that is my second point. My third point to studying more efficiently is do not spend too much time on one topic. This makes it more efficient, so now that you have a time range, let's say a maximum of 1.5 hours per topic you spend each day. This will make your time much more efficient, and it will also ensure that you study correctly and most efficiently given this time range. So I recommend about 1.5 hours per topic, per course, just to make your study habits the most efficient as possible. The next point I would like to emphasize is get enough sleep. Now, it's recommended that adults have between about 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. Now, if you're a university student, it's kind of hard to get that much hours of sleep, and sometimes day to day will vary. However, it is important and crucial to get enough sleep, especially on day of midterms and tests, quizzes, anything that has any major importance. Because your sleep, the amount of sleep that you get will dramatically affect the quality of your work on the exam and potentially the letter grade that you also get. So make sure you get enough sleep. That is a very important point. The next thing I would like to recommend is study the hard subjects at your prime time. And what I mean by prime time, it is the time of day that you feel you can understand things the most clearly. You will be able to understand things without much difficulty. So for example, some people's prime time may be in the morning, others may be in the noon, others may be night owls. But it is important to study the hardest subjects at your prime time, and subjects that come after are the more easier subjects, okay? And that just makes your study time more effective, putting the hardest subjects first for studying and then your easier subjects subsequently after. For each lecture, you want to understand the major points. So go over the lecture notes after you finish class and understand what is the point of this lecture? What does he want me to get out of this lecture? What are the major topics he covered? How long did he spend on each slide? That's important when it comes to the midterm, because now you know the slides or the points that the professor goes over the most and spends the most time, that they will probably be tested in some way on a midterm or a test. The next point is asking questions in class. This is important for clarification. So the more you ask, the better your understanding will be for that topic. If you don't want to ask questions during the class, it is best to when you're on a slide or on a certain topic of the lecture and you don't understand something clearly, write something down on a piece of paper, your question about that topic. So write down your question and then go to the professor after class and ask him the question that you were unsure about. The next point I would like to emphasize is to simplify your notes for better understanding. So if there are some very hard words or difficult words that you find in your lecture, maybe go over the book. If you have a textbook, check the textbook, see if that's any clearer your misunderstanding. And if it's not, try to simplify the sentences or the topics in your own words. This will help your understanding in your own words. So it'll actually help you remember a little bit better. Another point that I find very useful is figuring your type of learning style and study according to your type. So there's different types of learning. There's visual learners, audio learners, kinesthetic learners, a whole bunch of different types of learning styles. Now you can go up on the internet and you can type in how to figure out your learning style, and they will give you a bunch of points pertaining how to study with your given learning style. Now this can be a great tool if you want to really make your studying more effective and how you will retain information better. Also, make connections between ideas. So you can make connections between maybe the lecture itself, maybe there's topics within the lecture that fit together, or maybe different lectures fit together. Just try to make connections as much as possible, because during midterms, they like to make application questions that link ideas together. And so if you do make the connections ahead of time, you will have a better understanding, even if it's not tested, or you will have some idea about how to answer the question because you thought about it prior to the midterm. Another really good aspect is to quiz yourself. By quizzing yourself, you know what kind of questions he or she could possibly ask on a midterm. And by making your own questions, or even looking at practice midterms, it gives you an idea of the professor's format for each midterm, or quiz, or exam. So quiz yourself if you possibly can. Also, another way to quiz yourself could be making cue cards on harder topics that you don't understand. And the last thing I wanted to note is to think positively. By thinking positively about studying, about going into a midterm, make sure you have a reliable goal, something that's not too dramatic. So make sure you think positively, like you will do well in the course, or make sure you have set some kind of minimum, like I would like to get past a 80 or 75, whatever your goal is. And also incorporate that into your study habits, like I will finish this topic and I will have a greater understanding to this course and I will do well. And that will really influence the grade that you get on your exams or even your overall class mark. Now, I hope this helped with giving you some ideas about how to study more efficiently. Please like and subscribe.